Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, joined today with Frank Tropiano and Anthony the Heel Romano. Boys, it was a pretty wild, impactful weekend and a half from weekend and a Monday here that we have to recap in the world of wrestling. We'll start things off here with Saturday, with the Saturday night's main event. It was, of course, Goldberg's farewell match, but I think the biggest news that came out of Saturday was probably the injury to Seth Rollins. It's going to have some serious impact on at least the immediate future in wrestling here. Heel, I'll start off with you. I know we don't really have all the exacts right now, but how do you feel right now about the Seth situation?
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, you can kind of tell very quickly that it was going to be something real and not just a storyline injury. I mean, you clearly could tell that LA Knight was not supposed to just hit his finisher and win like that. So it was pretty clear in real time what happened. I guess we're still not totally sure the severity. Triple H made it sound like after Sunday night that it sounded severe. He was supposed to get MRIs. So yeah, I mean, obviously he's just so intertwined with like almost every major storyline on Raw right now. So um, for Seth the human, it sucks. For WWE, it sucks. But as we saw on Monday night, maybe it will allow for some interesting different storylines to emerge. So I don't know. Maybe there's a silver lining.
Yeah, we saw some rumors that maybe it's 4 to 5 months, nothing really concrete. I know they had a little segment there with Paul Heyman. They asked him about an update for Seth Rollins, and he said he has until next year to cash in. So when he said that, to me, it was pretty clear. All right, we're not taking this briefcase off him. We're not removing from the group. So that's good to see. Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the heel hit it on the head. It just stinks. It stinks for everyone involved. It stinks for us as the fans too. Obviously, that's not the first thing you think of when you see someone get injured. But when you're doing all this out, you know what I mean? Like Seth was building the most important thing on WWE television right now, along obviously with Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. It stinks for Seth. It stinks for those two guys too. I feel for them because I feel like they were getting mega pushed. And look, those two guys are going to be good. You know what I mean? Like they are good. They're going to be fine without him, and hopefully Seth gets back soon so he could still be the centerpiece. I wanted to see that stable go for years. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want that to be one where Braun would, by the end of the summer, turn on him. Hopefully that doesn't change here, and they don't change any plans like that.
I would just jump in and say that if anything, I think this could be a bonus for Braun Breaker. Like I don't know what his role would have been, as Seth's henchman, but at least for the next few months, like he might get a bigger push than he was going to get before this. So who knows for him? I mean, we already saw Monday night. It might just turn out to be a bonus for him.
I would imagine the initial idea was Seth would eventually cash in and become the champion, and then at some point Braun either breaks out or they kick Braun out and he takes that belt off Seth. That's probably the long-term storytelling, but 100%, this could definitely escalate the plans for Braun Breaker. That's definitely a glass half full approach to this situation. Other news here with Saturday Night Main Event. I don't know how much we have to talk about this, but Jelly Roll got his match confirmed. He's going to team up with Randy Orton and take on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Really quick here. Do we care? Are we excited? How do we feel?
Great Claymore. He ate a great Claymore. I have to say that.
Apparently, he's
Uh,
working hard at the Performance Center. That's what you told me.
yeah, Triple H really hyped up his commitment to the PC. I mean, listen, if he's willing to eat that Claymore, I guess I'm willing to give it a shot. He doesn't really have to do a lot in this match. I mean, it's three guys who know how to work a match. So it's not like they put him in a one-on-one scenario. So he can kind of just stand there and maybe get a couple moves in a hot tag scenario. But yeah, I mean, not a lot on the line here, but maybe it could be fun.
Jelly Roll did deliver one of the best choke slams I've ever seen in my life last year at a pay-per-view. So I mean, I got to give him that. Heel's right. He sold the Claymore great. Yeah, I guess let's see what's gonna happen. I'm always in the book of these things never hurt. Like I want more eyes on wrestling. You know what I mean? Like I think it's so fun, and I think it's such a great thing that the more and more people they can bring towards this, and now they're doing it the right way. Like they're not pairing Jelly Roll with some B-list wrestlers. This is Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. And it stinks that we're not getting Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton in something serious, but at the same time, like this is how you bring a guy in. This is how you when you have those eyes on the product, they're like, "Oh, that's Randy Orton. That's the 15-time world champ that we're pairing him with." I know Mark hates that.
I think it makes it worse. You're saying this is how you do it, and I think these celebrity appearances are for the silly mid-card, put eyes on the product, not for Randy Orton, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre. That's how I see this, but Heel, you're about to say something mean about me, I think. So
No,
say
I
your
was
piece.
just gonna say, like, we talk all the time. and I don't know how true this is these days, to be honest with you, but we talk all the time about how stacked the roster is, and there's not enough for everyone to go around, and it's like, all right, if these top guys aren't going to be involved in championship matches, well, do I want to see them in a random one-off, like unless it's like a Punk Drew type feud, then maybe this could just be something fun for SummerSlam. It doesn't have to be that serious, and then we can start getting into where they end up after this. But I don't know. I don't think it has to be that crazy serious.
Okay, fair enough. Then our last little talking point here for Saturday night's main event, Bill Goldberg. This was what the whole event was drawn up for. Frank, we'll start with you here. I think the biggest surprise of the entire night was this was over 14 minutes. How'd you feel about
Yeah,
this match?
I mean, good for Bill, right? Like if you're gonna go out in a good showing, and I think he had a great showing when he lifted Gunther over his head. There was no question on whether or not he could get him over his head. Which, look, at the end of the day, when it came time to hit his moves, he hit his moves and he looked great. He went out in his hometown. Most people are going to ask for a career like Bill Goldberg when they lace their boots for the first time. You know what I mean? Like you get that career, you'll be pretty happy. So I think this is a great way for a legend to go out. And after Sunday, after watching Evolution, I thought to myself, I was like, Trish sat there, and they were like, "We don't know if we'll see her again." I'm like, we better get the same type of send off for her. You know what I mean? I'm hoping like this was great. I really thought that this is the proper way to send the legend off. And so I hope we start seeing this more for some people. Look, I know the intrigued comeback is always going to be there, but he's 58, right, heel?
58. I just
58.
hope we don't see this. I don't hope we don't see it at Saturday night's main event, because that to me killed a lot of what they were doing here. I agree with you, Frank. I thought Goldberg had a great match. I thought we should look it up. Like this is probably his longest match in like a long time. I mean, God only knows when the last time he had a match go, almost 15 minutes. So good for him. They sold the knee well. I thought Gunther was really good too, in the role that he was supposed to play here. Yeah, overall, I thought it was great. I just hated the commercial, not only the commercials, but the commercial with 2 minutes left in the show before he does his big goodbye speech. Like, just let the guy have his moment. I know you got to pay the bills, whatever it is. I told you guys off air, like, John Cena's last match is supposed to be on a Saturday night's main event. Like, this cannot happen for that.
They're going to clean up all their problems for John. It's going to be, you hope at least. The timing was weird, of course, with the commercials, cutting off his speech as well. It makes you wonder if at any point the Seth cash-in was planned. There was some kind of conflicting rumors out there online saying that that was the idea for the finish here, but I still feel like that probably wasn't the right call.
Yeah, I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I'm sure that impacted the timing, and I'm sure that maybe made them go longer with the match itself. But yeah, I mean, I thought they did a good job with dealing with the conditions that they had to deal with.
Going into Evolution on Sunday, there was one big surprise, but for the most part, it was pretty by the book. A very good show, very good wrestling. I thought the women really showed out here, but we weren't getting those big surprises that we talked about in the kind of predictions here. No AJ Lee, no Brie Bella, no Paige, but still a really fun show. We'll start here just at the top here. Frank, how'd you feel about the Evolution in its entirety?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this was an A+ show for me. I don't know what my expectations were going in because it felt like they're doing Saturday Night Main Event. They're doing Evolutions. We're 3 weeks away from SummerSlam. Like, are they really going to give us it all here? You know what I mean? But they did. They absolutely did. And shout out to every woman on the card because every woman on the card came to play on Sunday, and they proved that they need more of these events or they need more matches on the main card. I don't know what's the right answer is there, but they all really, really came to play, and I was super impressed, and it was such an enjoyable show. So shout out to all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter on social media, and I totally agree with this, that this is the style of PLE that I wish they would just do every single time. Like, give us 7 matches, like, give us more actual wrestling. Like, you saw the reaction from the crowd on a show that was mostly just wrestling. Like, there wasn't a lot of fluff. It was all matches, and they were good matches, and the crowd responded appropriately. Like, we don't need to have just 5 matches on a PLE. There's so many people in this roster that are being held back or not given, appropriate. We talked about the mid card women's titles on the last episode. Like, there are so many more opportunities to give people matches on these premium live events, and you wouldn't even need to make them that much longer. Just cut out some of the fluff and the advertisement. Like, I know that's asking a lot. Like, you're probably not going to see that, but you could at least add one more match to some of these cards to fill them out, and they would just feel like so much more is happening.
No, that's totally fair. For the card itself, pretty by the book for the most part. I think for the most part, most expectations were kind of met until the main event happened. This is when we kind of went a little bit crazy here. Of course, Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky put on a phenomenal match. And then we had our cash in. We had Naomi cash in her briefcase, making this a triple threat match. I just feel like we all just assumed Naomi was involved with Tiffany Stratton with Jade Cargill. She was not involved with this storyline here, which made the shock that much more. I popped big time. I did not see this happening. It really kind of made the night for me.
I don't think we all assumed that, Mark.
I begged. I begged her. I begged her to do it. I can't say that I thought that it was gonna happen, but I'm really glad that it did. You know what I mean? Like I like this is what I wanted. I thought that she needed something fresh, or I thought that belt needed something fresh more than any particular person, and it got exactly what it needed. I don't want to jump the gun here. I know we're gonna move on to the fact that they have a triple threat match at SummerSlam. Naomi has to be a lock to retain there. Don't undo that. Like they did a great job. She has so much momentum right now. Raw, she cut that promo. It was awesome. The whole crowd was popping. Just keep that momentum going. Don't even think about taking it off of her.
I love Naomi. I know Mark, and I can't remember what you thought, Frank. I know Mark had some hesitations about her winning the briefcase. I always thought it was a decent pick. I think she's already proving why. I think she cuts a great promo, but I have to give Io and Rhea their flowers. To me, honestly, I'm not a total veteran of recent times like you guys are. To me, this is my number one women's match of all time. I thought it was great. I thought it was everything I could ask for in a wrestling match. It made you feel, it made you think both of them were going to win at different points. I just thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing storytelling. I didn't want it to end. And honestly, like part of me was sad when Naomi's music hit because I was like, one of these girls deserves to win. But also it was a huge moment. So I thought it was the perfect finish. And you're still leaving open that door of, well, Rhea still hasn't beaten EO. Like we're still going to come back to this down the road. You know that's going to happen. So I loved it. These are two of my favorite competitors, and I thought they put on a huge show. I thought it was great.
We'll segue right from that main event of Evolution right into Monday Night Raw, where Frank, you kind of mentioned it there. We have the triple threat match here confirmed for SummerSlam. It's going to be Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus the new champion Naomi. It's going to be incredible, like you said, Frank. I think we'll do our predictions for sure, but Naomi has to retain here.
I can't see a world where they undo this and feel good about themselves the next day.
Yeah, they probably do need to have Naomi win. Will that actually happen? I don't know. I don't know if we can guarantee that. They love them some Rhea. As we mentioned the last episode, there's a show in Australia coming up. I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. You guys are probably right. They probably should have Naomi win that match, but again, I think we're going to go into this with a real possibility that all three of these girls could win this title back because they seem to love all three of them. So we'll see what happens.
I'm still so surprised we have removed Naomi from the Bianca and Jade equation now, at least for the time being. Where even when she won that belt, in my head, I was like, all right, maybe she goes to SmackDown now and continues doing whatever she's going to do over there. But we, of course, now know that Jade will confirmed face Tiffany at SummerSlam. So these storylines are moving on with Naomi removed from the situation.
Kind of like it because they fought enough now, and but it's still like kind of somewhat unsettled. Although Jade beat her both times, so there's that. So we could say it's resolved, but then later down the line when they want to pick it back up, they have that. You know what I mean? They have that history. So I kind of like the place that they left it, especially with not knowing what Bianca's role coming up is going to be. I don't know if her reffing was her back. I'd imagine it's not.
Well, you have to remember too. I just thought of this. If Jade wins at SummerSlam, then they are going to meet, assuming Naomi retains at Crown Jewel for the Crown Jewel Championship. Remember? Because it's champion versus champion. So maybe that's something to look out for if you're looking at those two. Naomi also did call out Bianca in her promo on Monday. So we'll see. We'll see where it all goes. Like you guys have said, it's something fresh and something new. They did officially confirm Naomi's on Raw now. So she's done with whatever was happening on SmackDown, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air. And you know what? Thank God, because even though it's still Rhea, it's still Io, it's new, it's different. There's more going on, so I like it.
For the opposite of something fresh and something new, we have another match confirmed here for SummerSlam. It's going to be Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria. On Raw, they had their best 2 out of 3 falls match, Lyra versus Bailey. The winner goes on to face Becky. I'm only frustrated here because why? Why are we doing Lyra again? It feels to me like you could have went a number of different directions here, and instead we're gonna do the same match that we already did a handful of times already.
I think to me the easy answer is this is currently the women's mid card on Raw. It's just kind of them three. Like who else would you have step into this spot at a big four pay-per-view? It was going to be either Bailey or Lyra, and they obviously chose Lyra. I thought their match today was great. I thought Bailey and Lyra put on a great 2 out of 3 falls match. The finish was awesome. The way Lyra hit her finisher there at the end, and this will, I guess, close the book on this little trilogy that they've got going. Or I don't know. I don't hate this as much as you two hate it.
For me, the issue is I want to take us back to a time when John Cena was the United States champion. So just bear with me for a second here. He, as a veteran winning that belt, right? As the prestigious veteran winning that belt, gave us the blueprint for what we were supposed to do, right? He never had to lose, but he made every single person that came against him look shining. It was the first time main roster people saw Kevin Owens. It was the first time main roster people saw Sami Zayn. It elevated guys in the mid card that were already there. He put on a show every single week. And I'm not saying Becky should do an Intercontinental Championship like open every single week and be exactly like Cena. She obviously is playing the heel version of it, right? But we have the blueprint, right? Short feuds, up and coming, do your best at the very established, very long list of accomplishments champion, right? And fall short and then get to the back of the line. And eventually when someone beats her, it will be a really big deal. Like Becky Lynch is John Cena of the women's division. Maybe not to the degree that John Cena is, but she is as talented and as has as many accolades as anybody in the division. Why are we sticking like it could she could just elevate so many people on that on the roster right now that need to be elevated and they're not doing it. And she could do it just by them being in a match with her. She doesn't have to lose. Just like the way John Cena did it in his run.
I mean, she's only had the title for like 36 days.
It
This isn't an extended run of this.
it just feels like why is Bailey in this at all? Like this is a I don't know. This is a mid card title, right? So this is made for mid carders. Bailey's been a multiple time world champion. Like she's important when she walks into a room, and maybe she's not the prestige of Becky Lynch, right? But all right, we're gonna do it again with Lyra, but we gotta move on after SummerSlam.
I think they will. I think they absolutely will. And not only that, like you kind of mentioned it, like Becky's a heel. Like it's not similar to John Cena. Like she's leaning into the Becky Hogan stuff. Like she literally is using that expression in her promo work. Like this is kind of she's telling us like, yeah, I'm still the best. Like you still got to come beat me. And I guess they're setting up for Lyra to go and beat her again. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how they're gonna wrap this story up, but I'm fine with it. I think the crowd loves it. It sounds like they're finally behind Lyra. Like if anything, this has helped build Lyra into something legitimate. So I don't know. I don't think it's that harmful.
I know there's not an abundance of options, like you kind of alluded to earlier, Heel, but it's just to me, like, do something different. It's SummerSlam, it's a big show, and I understand that they have really high hopes and aspirations for Lyra. This is obviously their plan. I don't know if they're. It feels like Lyra probably wins this, honestly, the way we're going. Otherwise, why do this at all? But it just feels off to me.
I mean, let me put it this way: the other women's match on Raw this Monday was Chelsea Green losing to Nikki Bella. So it's like it's it's not like old talent is putting over young talent anywhere else in the women's card. So I don't know. I mean, now you have Stephanie Valquer who has a title shot coming up. Chelsea's, I guess, on Raw. I guess they're on Raw now. Is that official? What I don't know what that. I don't know if I missed that, but
I was texting you guys this morning, just kind of like a make fun, made up SummerSlam card I was putting together, and I had Becky facing off with Chelsea Green because in my head I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. I would love that. I like Chelsea a lot. Like Becky, this makes a lot of sense. Whatever. And but like you said, she went and lost Nikki Bella. I would also like to see Nikki versus Becky. I think that's a fun match too, especially for SummerSlam. But we're just kind of running the same thing back. Now it's time for the main event of Monday Night Raw. There was a gauntlet match to decide who faces Gunther at SummerSlam. A lot of speculation here. I think pretty much we all thought it was going to be CM Punk or Braun Breaker. Of course, also there was Penta, LA Knight, and Jey Uso in this match. They made Braun Breaker look like an absolute superstar. He looked incredible. He ran the gauntlet until, of course, losing to CM Punk in the very end. But he had help from Braun Breakers. Excuse me, he had help from Bronson Reed. It's really tricky. I've been typing it out a lot with like
The bronze.
Braun and Braun. I don't really like it,
Yeah.
but it's fine. Uh, but so we had CM Punk beat Braun Breaker. We'll talk about the end. But first off, heel, how'd you feel?
I thought this was great. From the moment that Braun and Heyman came out to address Gunther, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the direction the match was going to go. Braun was going to run through the first three or four guys, whatever it was, and then Punk was going to come in last and beat him. I thought Punk was going to win this match going into it. Punk Gunther just made too much sense, especially with the Seth injury and not having him a part of the mix. I feel like this is a good pivot. I mean, it's CM Punk's getting another title shot, so how many of these can he really lose? Like this is his second in a row after not having any in his first 2 years back. So it'll be interesting to see how we feel when we do our predictions. But I do think it's just going to be Punk versus Gunther here, and it's probably going to be a great match.
Yeah, I mean, you set up the fact too that if Punk does win the world title, right, you have now Seth with the briefcase, and if it's 4 to 5 months, I mean,
That's
the story
perfect.
the story continues, right? The saga continues,
It
So
could even be WrestleMania. This could
yeah,
be another heist of the century.
yeah, he could bring out Braun and Bronson, and they can, kill Punk after an already terrible, like he's already feeling terrible after a match, and yeah, no. So I do like the idea of that here.
Let's bring it back to Monday night to the
Sorry.
conclusion of Raw. We had the OTC return. First off, here early in the night, Paul Heyman said to Braun Breaker, "This is your yard. You're the big dog." Very much alluding to Roman Reigns coming back tonight. So super excited when that happened. At the conclusion of the gauntlet, Braun and Bronson are beating down Jey Uso and CM Punk to Roman's music hitting. I popped big time, even though I kind of expected, like I said, but something about Roman, man. Every time he comes out there, I know like people kind of are upset with him about how he kind of his current like part-time situation, but every time he's on screen, man, it's $1 million.
He's an absolute superstar. I mean, there's no question about it. The guy comes out and instantly Braun Breaker, who was already important, became 100 times more important. Bronson Reed, who's already important, became 100 times more important. That's what he does. I just don't know without Seth Rollins. Like it feels like with Seth, it was like, oh, is Seth's side gonna win? Is Roman like now it's gonna be Roman's side's just gotta win. And if they don't, it will be shocking, right? But I mean, again, I feel like I'm just living in the future. I thought this weekend did such a great job setting up for SummerSlam, which I'm now very excited for.
Me too. I hope that we get Roman versus Braun in a singles match. I don't think we're gonna get that. I think we're gonna get Roman and Jay versus the two of them, which whatever. I wish it was the two both. They could both do singles matches. Would make me more happy. But yeah, everything you said was right, Mark. You were a little ahead of me, so you kind of. I mean, I didn't think at first we were getting them, and I'm glad that Jay came out first because it made more sense for Roman to save Jay than for him to just come out and save Punk. So they were at least consistent there, bringing Jay back out. But yeah, I mean, we knew he was going to be involved with something, and yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of intertwined, intertangled storylines here. It's just kind of without Seth, and it doesn't feel like Gunther's really involved with any of it. So I'm guessing Gunther's going to lose the championship, but he could just win it and still be involved with everything. So we'll see.
Heel, I felt the same way as you in regards to this possible now tag team match. When it was teased early in the night, I was like, "Oh wow, we're doing Roman and Braun. That's big time. That's a big time match." And now the way the night ended, it kind of seems like we're doing that tag team match with Roman and Jay taking on Braun and Bronson. I get it. I think that's a big money match, and they know that the Roman versus Bronson, like Roman versus Braun, that could be a WrestleMania Night 2 main event one day. Like truthfully, that is has that kind of potential. So I get saving in that regard, but I'm also a little bit bummed out that it's probably a tag team match. All right, that pretty much concludes our crazy weekend and Raw here. Anything else to say before we call it a day?
Yeah, I want to say one thing. When we were talking about Evolution, we did not mention the Fatal Four-Way Tag Team match. I thought that match was awesome. Like, obviously, Io and Rhea were match of the night, but that match was so good. I thought Charlotte and Alexa were definitely going to win, but they gave it back to the Judgment Day. Hopefully, that isn't the end of Charlotte and Alexa because I thought it was so cool, and it's the best Charlotte has looked in years. I don't know if anyone saw the she got the hot tag, and for the rest of the match, she looked incredible. So she looks a lot more loose than she did during WrestleMania, and I think that's really great because she's obviously one of the greatest women's wrestler of all, maybe one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So having her going and having her having fun and doing things is really important.
It was probably the first time the crowd was behind her in a very long time, and I don't think we're getting anywhere near the end of this Alexa and Charlotte pairing.
I just have to take a little bit of credit here because if we go back to our picks, I was the only one who picked the Judgment Day to retain. I was the only one to select Stephanie Vaquer to win the like 30-person battle royal.
True.
So I got that one right. I think the only one I didn't get right was NXT. None of us expected JC Jane to retain. And then I'll give Frank a little bit of credit because he did mention, I don't think he predicted, but he mentioned the fact that Naomi could cash in on the main event. So I'll give Frank half credit for that one.
And since we're giving ourselves credit for predictions, I might as well go back to my Saturday night main event prediction of LA Knight beating Seth Rollins, just the way we all thought it was going to go.
It took a torn ACL and an audible, but you got that right, Frank.
Yeah,
And you know
exactly.
what? For a second, I thought Bill was going to win too. When he hit the jackhammer, I thought it was over.
With that being said, hopefully everyone enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll come back here in a few weeks and talk about SummerSlam.